The Battle of Yorktown, How the French Saved America in the War of Independence. The play is over, the fifth act has just ended. Comte de Rochambeau, upon the British surrender at Yorktown. The American War of Independence is often romanticized as a heroic struggle of colonial underdogs against the mighty British Empire. Yet, beneath the surface of this narrative lies a darker, more complex truth: the American Revolution was not won by the colonists alone. It was a war of alliances, betrayals, and calculated interests, where the French intervention proved decisive. The Battle of Yorktown, the final act of this bloody drama, was not merely a triumph of American resolve but a testament to French military and financial might. Without France, the dream of American independence might have been extinguished in the shadows of British oppression. Now, before we move on with the story, please help a small channel grow. Like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. Okay, back to the story. This essay delves into the grim realities of the American Revolution, focusing on the pivotal role of France in the Battle of Yorktown. It explores the darker aspects of the war, the desperation of the Continental Army, the geopolitical machinations of European powers, and the human cost of a conflict that reshaped the world. The story of Yorktown is not just one of liberation but also of sacrifice, manipulation, and the fragile nature of freedom. The desperation of the American cause. By 1781, the American Revolution was on the brink of collapse. The Continental Army, led by General George Washington, was exhausted, underfunded, and demoralized. Years of fighting had taken a brutal toll. Soldiers lacked basic supplies, food, clothing, and ammunition, and desertion rates were alarmingly high. The British, meanwhile, controlled key cities like New York and Charleston, and their superior navy dominated the seas. The war had become a grinding stalemate, with neither side able to deliver a decisive blow. The American cause was sustained more by sheer willpower than by any realistic hope of victory. Washington himself wrote in 1780, "We are at the end of our tether. Now or never our deliverance must come." That deliverance, however, would not come from within. It would come from across the Atlantic. The French alliance, a marriage of convenience. France's involvement in the American Revolution was not born of altruism. It was a calculated move to weaken Britain, its longtime rival. The French monarchy, still reeling from its defeat in the 7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763, saw an opportunity to exact revenge and restore its global prestige. In 1778, France formally allied with the United States, providing money, weapons, and military expertise. The French contribution was immense. Over the course of the war, France supplied the Americans with over 1.3 billion livres, equivalent to billions of dollars today, along with troops, ships, and supplies. French officers, such as the Marquis de Lafayette, became instrumental in training and leading American forces. Yet, this alliance came at a cost. The French monarchy, already burdened by financial troubles, plunged itself deeper into debt, a factor that would later contribute to the French Revolution. For the Americans, the alliance was both a lifeline and a Faustian bargain. While French support was essential, it also underscored the fragility of their independence. The United States was not truly self-sufficient, it relied on foreign powers to survive. This dependence cast a long shadow over the Revolution, raising questions about the true nature of American sovereignty. The road to Yorktown. The Battle of Yorktown was the culmination of a complex series of events, shaped by both strategy and luck. In 1781, British General Charles Cornwallis moved his army to Yorktown, Virginia, hoping to establish a naval base and consolidate British control in the South. Unbeknownst to him, this decision would prove fatal. Washington, with the help of French General Rochambeau, devised a bold plan to trap Cornwallis at Yorktown. The key to this plan was the French Navy, led by Admiral de Grasse. In a rare stroke of fortune, de Grasse's fleet arrived in the Chesapeake Bay just in time to block British reinforcements and supply lines. This naval blockade was the linchpin of the Allied strategy, cutting off Cornwallis from escape or rescue. The French role in this operation cannot be overstated. Over 7,000 French troops joined the 8,000 Americans in besieging Yorktown, while the French Navy controlled the seas. The French also brought superior artillery and engineering expertise, which proved crucial in breaking through British defences. Without French support, the siege of Yorktown would have been impossible. The siege and the surrender. The siege of Yorktown began on September 28, 1781, and lasted for 3 weeks. It was a brutal affair, marked by relentless bombardment, trench warfare, and mounting casualties. The Allied forces gradually tightened their grip on the British, cutting off supplies and wearing down their defences. On October 17, Cornwallis realised the hopelessness of his situation and requested a ceasefire. 2 days later, he formally surrendered his army of over 7,000 men. The surrender was a humiliating blow to British prestige and effectively ended the war. As the British troops marched out of Yorktown, their band reportedly played "The World's Turned Upside Down," a fitting anthem for the moment. The victory at Yorktown was a triumph of Franco-American cooperation, but it was also a reminder of the war's human cost. Thousands had died on both sides, and the scars of the conflict would linger for generations. For the French, the victory was bittersweet. While they had achieved their goal of humiliating Britain, the financial strain of the war would soon contribute to their own revolution. The darker implications of the French intervention in the American Revolution raises troubling questions about the nature of independence and the price of freedom. Was the United States truly free if its survival depended on foreign powers? The alliance with France, while necessary, also entangled the young nation in the web of European politics. Moreover, the revolution's ideals of liberty and equality were deeply flawed. While the Americans fought for their own freedom, they denied it to others. Slavery persisted in the new nation, and Native Americans were displaced and massacred in the name of expansion. The French, too, were complicit in these contradictions. Their support for American independence did not extend to their own colonies, where they maintained oppressive regimes. The Battle of Yorktown, then, was not just a moment of triumph, but also a reminder of the Revolution's unfinished business. It was a victory born of desperation, compromise, and sacrifice, a victory that came at a high cost. Conclusion: the Battle of Yorktown marked the end of the American Revolution, but it was not a purely American victory. It was a Franco-American triumph, shaped by the contributions of French money, troops, and strategy. Without France, the United States might never have achieved independence. Yet, this alliance was not without its darker implications. It exposed the fragility of the American cause and the contradictions at the heart of the Revolution. The victory at Yorktown was a moment of liberation, but it was also a reminder of the sacrifices and compromises that freedom often requires. In the end, the Battle of Yorktown was not just a turning point in history, it was a mirror reflecting the complexities of human ambition, courage, and frailty. The French saved America, but in doing so, they also revealed the shadows that linger behind every revolution. Please, like and subscribe.